Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're out here to do the Gauntlet test on the PX4 Storm. This is probably one of the most requested guns we've had lately, simply because I was doing my 500 round break-in at the end of last summer. Then winter hit. We can't do our tests in the winter, and throughout the entire winter I kept getting bombarded with messages and comments. When are you going to do the PX4 Storm? When are you going to do the PX4 Storm? We're doing it today, guys, so here we go. Now we have, just like you do with every other gun that we run through the Gauntlet test, we have thoroughly cleaned the gun. We have over 500 rounds. That's a suggestion you guys made. We have over 500 rounds through the gun. It's functioning flawlessly. We cleaned it and lubricated it with CLP, break-free, keeping that a standard, and it's ready to go. We have enough magazines. We like to test fire the gun on camera, show that it functions before we begin the tests, but sometimes we don't have enough magazines. However, thanks to our friends at Gun Mag Warehouse, we now have enough magazines to do any type of testing that we want. They give us the magazines to use here on the channel, but they do not pay me to plug them, and I get no kickbacks from you guys buying something from them, but they do give us free magazines to use in our tests, and we thank them for that. Now, I was using Gun Mag Warehouse long before they started working with us and helping us out with magazines. They have a lot of magazines, pretty much for every gun known to man, and they have really good prices, which is why I was buying from them before they started helping us out. All right, so we're using the same 124 grain Fiocchi 9mm that we've used in all of our tests. Everything from our 1,000 round burn downs to all of our Gauntlet tests. So we're going to start off by firing 10 rounds. We only load 10 rounds in the magazine because we want to make sure every gun we test, we can get about the same number of rounds through them. Every gun has a different magazine capacity. We have enough rounds here to do our function test. So I'm going to go ahead and make the weapon ready and fire 10 rounds. Gun's working just fine. So, the first test that we're going to do, we call the elemental test. The elemental test is just basically dunking it in water, fire. Dunking it in sand, fire, cleanse it in water, go to dirt, fire, cleanse it in water, and then go to the mud. If the gun looks like it's going to do a fairly good job there, and we think this is a fairly easy test to pass, the mud probably being the hardest part for any gun. If it makes it through this, then we go to the Gauntlet, where we go water, sand, dirt, and mud with no rinse cycle in between. All right, so here we go, guys. Let's load this gun up, make it ready. This is a double action, single action pistol, so we're going to set the gun as if it were set up for being carried, which means we're going to go ahead and put a magazine in the weapon, charge the weapon, and then we're going to drop the hammer, because this is how you would carry the pistol. There is no facilities for cocked lock carry on the PX4 Storm. I'm interested in how well it's going to do simply because of the rotating barrel mechanism. There's quite a bit of stuff that's open in here, and I'm hoping that the gun works okay, because I'm thinking that rotating barrel may flick debris into its own internals and cause problems. But that's pure speculation. Let's find out how well it works. Water first. I do not recommend you guys do this at home. This is not necessarily a safe thing to do. Bring it up and fire. Perfect function. Now we move over to the sand, make the gun ready for carry. And all we do, guys, is we just push it into the sand on both sides as if you had just dropped it, okay? And then we pick the gun up and we fire. Locks open, works flawlessly. Let's go ahead and rinse the gun out. We're going to set the magazine aside. We'll rinse it off too. Try to get some of the sand out of it. Rinse the gun off. Try to get as much debris out as we can. All right, reset the gun for the next test, which is dirt. Hammer dropped, and again, we just lay the gun in the dirt on both sides, push down. Fairly simple test, right? We'll see how she does. Okay, we had one failure to feed. I saw brass come out. It did not go in. Okay, so we had one failure to go into battery. Clean the gun off and reset the test. Okay. And now the last test in the elemental test is the mud. We're just going to put it in the mud and push it down on both sides. Like that. This is the favorite part of my job, guys. Can't see the sights. All right, nearly perfect function, guys. I had to help one round into battery. I don't consider that to be a deal breaker. This gun is definitely going on to the Gauntlet. We're going to clean the gun up. We don't lubricate it. We're just going to rinse it off in its own dirty water, load up the magazines, and we'll see you guys in a few minutes once we reset the test. Okay guys, here we go. We're all set up for the actual Gauntlet test of the PX4. Now guys, keep in mind these tests aren't necessarily scientific and they're primarily for entertainment purposes. We do, however, expect a gun to be able to pass the first battery of tests without failures because we're just simply simulating dropping the gun in water, sand, dirt, and mud and picking it up and using it. We're putting a round in the chamber, we have a magazine inserted, we've sealed the gun as much as we can, as if you were daily carrying it and you dropped the gun in a fight. So now we're just going to see how far we can push things, all right? So I'd never recommend you buy a gun based on the results of these tests, and I don't recommend you sell a gun based on the results of these tests. Just keep in mind, these are primarily entertainment purposes only videos. However, I do believe the first battery tests have some significance, at least in my mind, when I'm choosing a carry weapon. All right, so here we go. We haven't cleaned the gun. We have not lubricated it. We've just reloaded the magazines, which we've washed everything out in its own dirty water. Go ahead and make the weapon ready. All right, she's ready to go. Put it in the water until we stop seeing bubbles come up. And 10 rounds. All right, we don't do a rinse cycle here, guys. We just go straight to the sand, and we mix it up a little bit by also putting sand over it. All right, do the same thing on the other side. We push it down to the sand, bring sand up over it. And we have a failure, I believe, to extract. I think we just ended the Gauntlet test, guys. The gun is completely seized up. I think that's a spent case. Let's drop the magazine. Jason, be careful. This is a loaded weapon, potentially. There we go. It is a spent case. All right, guys. The gun has seized up, so we're going to go ahead and stop the Gauntlet test. It made it through the water. There's no way I can get this gun back into the fight. I can't get it back into the fight. There's no immediate action I can do to return this gun to working order, so it failed the Gauntlet. All right, guys, we're going to try to get this thing taken apart and cleaned up, and we'll come back and give you our final thoughts. We decided to show you guys how we are going to try to get this gun working again. I still cannot get that spent case out. We've tried everything we can. It just goes so far and stops. I think what happened is with this rotating barrel, what I predicted at the beginning of the video is that the barrel rotates and throws sand into its own action, and we just have a pebble of sand in the wrong spot that has seized the gun up. So we're going to try rinsing it out. And that did it. All right, so we washed that pebble of sand out. It was just most likely the little tiniest speck of sand. We got a loaded magazine here. It failed. I can't redo the test, guys. It wouldn't be fair to the other competitors. But yeah, that rotating barrel system is most likely the culprit causing it to fail in sand. Learn something every day. I still think it's a pretty darn good gun. But yeah. We're going to do our traditional rinse off and see if the gun's going to continue functioning after just washing it with water. Based upon what we just did, I think it probably will, but let's find out. So we just take the gun apart. If we can get it apart. There we go. Come on, baby. All right. Magazine in there. Let's rinse it all out, get all the big particles off. Don't see a whole lot of sand in there, to be honest with you guys. But I don't want to drop the parts out here in the. And yes, I know this is poison ivy, and no, this isn't my house. But yeah, we're all cleaned off. All right, put it back together. Go test fire it and give you my final thoughts. Whew, some friction there. All right, let's go. We just finished rinsing the gun off in the garden hose, and now we're going to see if it's returned to function, which I'm pretty sure it has. So the gun's functioning flawlessly. Matter of fact, once we got the sand into it, just dunking it in water corrected the failure to work. So while it did fail the Gauntlet test, guys, I think what we talked about at the beginning of the video, this rotating, the gun is clear. Okay, there's no magazine in it. The gun is clear. When you look at this barrel rotation, I think sand and potentially even dirt will be the downfall of the gun, because there's a pretty large opening just underneath this locking lug, and that allows sand and dirt to get down into the trigger mechanism and underneath the rotating barrel, and it has a simple camming slot. And I think all that happened was a piece or two of sand got in there because of that rotating barrel system, fired that round and it malfunctioned, and it was just a simple matter of rinsing it off in water and getting it working again. So I think the rotating barrel, based upon this, is probably not as robust or as reliable as a simple Browning action. However, the gun has other positive features, which is, of course, it did a pretty darn good job. It didn't 100% pass, but the basic elements test it did okay in. I just had to help that slide home one time. The Gauntlet, it failed. The Gauntlet causes a lot of guns to fail. Do I think this is a good carry gun? I think it's an okay carry gun. I don't think it's horrible. I personally wouldn't carry it simply because I think the Browning action is so simple and so reliable, historically speaking. There's no reason to change what works. But if you carry one of these guns, you be the judge. All I can do is show you the evidence. Yeah, I wouldn't want this handgun in Iraq or Afghanistan where they have moon dust, because I think it might cause the gun more problems than, say, something like just a simple Browning action handgun. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. We certainly enjoy making these videos for you guys, and if you would like to support us here at the channel, it's kind of hard to see through my little muddy shirt or muddy garment here, but we do have our own line of t-shirts at forgefromfreedom.com, and it's the Mac collection. You can swing by and pick up a t-shirt, and that supports us here at the channel. If you become a Patreon supporter, you get a discount code on the shirts. You also get all sorts of cool discounts through Copper Custom, which is our online store, and you get live streams with us every week, and we do giveaways from video shoots and all sorts of other things that try to give something back to you for directly supporting us, because YouTube has cut us off monetarily. We're on our own, and thanks to our Patreons, we can continue to make these unbiased videos with all these different types of firearms. So swing by and check us out at Patreon, swing by and check us out at Forge from Freedom, and also check us out at coppercustom.com. Guys, thanks for 10 years of support, and we'll talk to you guys soon.